Good to see you.
Good to be here. Talking about Stephen A's favorite team, the Rams.
Yes.
And I know how he feels about.
Yes, it's been no secret.
I'm not even going to say who's coaching that team.
Right, no secret. How you've been tough on Jeff Fisher. But with that being said, are you ready now to buy in on the Rams since their latest win streak?
No. Why would I be? What the hell have they done? They've won 3 games in 4 weeks. Last time I checked, there's still 12 games to go. We're talking about a coach in Jeff Fisher that's in his 22nd season, and 15 times he's been out of the playoffs. This man's record is an atrocity. As far as I'm concerned, he's lucky to be the coach. This defense is elite. We all know what these boys bring to the table. They've got Ogletree. He's leading the team in tackles. You've got guys, you know, like a Quinn. He's got a couple of sacks on the year. They've only got 7 sacks on the year, but Quinn's got a sack. He's got 2 sacks. Hayes got a sack. Aaron Donald's only got a sack and a half or whatever. But the defense is definitely big time. There's no doubt about that. We look at them offensively, okay, with Case Keenum as your quarterback, what do you expect? You're ranked 30th in the league offensively, dead last in yards accumulated, 30th against for the pass, 30th for the run. So clearly your defense is carrying this team. You just drafted a guy #1 overall, while Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott, even though Trevor Siemian was drafted the year before, they're playing. You see a guy in Jared Goff who wasn't even on the active roster for week 1, and we haven't seen him throw a pass yet. It's still early. We get all of that. But what I'm trying to say to you is that when you have a number of years spanning decades of ineptitude, 4 games does not erase
I also
that.
don't believe in the Rams. I think that, look, I'll tell you why, Coach.
Wow.
First of all, they have 2 good wins. The good wins are against Arizona and Seattle. You know who they beat last year? Arizona and Seattle. I mean, divisional games, rivalries, that, you know, lesser teams can beat better teams. This happens. Yep. You know the Rams play Seattle tough, and they beat Arizona last year, too. Here's the thing about the Rams. Going into this season, I looked and thought, they have a good defense, good front 7. If you played them in daily fantasy last year, you know they'd rack up a lot of points for you, right? They have an offensive line. Their strategy is get rid of the ball quickly, but still the offensive line not so bad, and a great running back in Todd Gurley, potentially the best in the game in the not-so-distant future. They have a pretty good receiving core. They just were missing a lead wideout, in my opinion, Coach, and a veteran quarterback. Why they decided to trade up to draft a rookie quarterback who didn't look like a Cam Newton or an Andrew Luck in college, and not just use that to draft a wideout who we've seen, Amari Cooper, Sammy Watkins, Odell Beckham Jr., assume that lead wideout role right out of college, and then bring in a veteran quarterback like what Minnesota did with Bradford or RG3, although he got hurt. Kaepernick, different guys were available. I don't know. I thought that would have been a better strategy. But, Coach, I agree with Stephen A. here. Based on Jeff Fisher's recent history and just these 2 wins, the quality wins, I don't believe in the Rams.
Wow.
Without a quarterback.
Wow. That's really disappointing for me, because all of a sudden all 3 of us kind of agree.
I like the tease, Coach. I like look at Coach elevating his TV act.
You gotta sell the play action. You gotta sell it.
Not selling the play action.
You guys made some good points, because the Rams in the last 2 years in this division, they're 6-3. Jeff does a great job in the division. Last year, in the last 2 years, they've been 4-7 outside the division. They beat the Browns, they beat the Lions, and they beat Tampa Bay twice. There lies the problem. Their offense is what I call slow-moving at best. They have a problem with big plays. Got a unique running back, but the offensive line is not very good, to speak nicely. Their defense is in the middle of the road. They got a good front. They got a great corner in Tremaine Johnson, very, very good player. But they're in a division right now where you see some teams struggling, Arizona being one. Seattle's going to continue to get better. I would hope Arizona will get out of this lull. But Arizona's got some issues, too, when you look at them. And I said it in the preseason. I didn't like the way they looked. It was just something that was bothering me. They got 12 games left. They'll probably get this thing going because they're talented enough in that. But the Rams are a team right now that when the season continues to play out, I think it'll catch up with them. Because they can't score points. They cannot score points. When they're forced to score points, they're going to get in trouble.
Well, let me ask you this
quarterback.
Let me ask you this question, Coach. When do we get to hold Jeff Fisher accountable for everything that you just diagrammed for us as it pertains to their woes as a franchise?
Well, you can hold him accountable. I mean, all coaches are held accountable. He has a unique talent in this sense that when they moved, the owner and the people in charge felt like he would be the best guy through the transition of the move.
I think he's got pictures on somebody.
I don't
understand it.
You're like, what does that guy know?
Look. I forgot.
3-1.
Listen, I'm not going to mention the
You're
guy. I'm
hilarious.
not going to mention the guy's name. But when I was in L.A., because my man Max invited me to that HBO party, I'm still indebted to that. That was a special party, boy. Here's the deal. I mean, Max
the
invited
town
me
red.
out there, and we was having a ball. You know, the point that I'm trying to make while I was there,
Yes.
there was an event for the Rams.
Yes.
And I met a couple of employees there for the Los Angeles Rams. Incredibly nice guy. One guy there needs to be the damn executive because I've never seen a man sell a franchise any better in my life.
That's what
he
they
knows
do.
who he
It's
is.
Los Angeles.
It was special. This dude is the greatest salesman I've ever seen in my life. It's unbelievable how he sold the Rams. But I say all of that to say I'll tell y'all the same thing I told him. You know, the Jeff Fisher we got to check Kroenke's past or something. Something wrong. Jeff Fisher might have pictures on him or something. 15 years, you missed the playoffs in 21 seasons, and not only do you stay with the team to make the move from St. Louis to Los Angeles, but you get a contract extension too. I got to figure out what Jeff Fisher got something on that man.
They're in
He's
first
got
place.
something on that man.
Stephen A,
I'm
they're
just
in
saying
first place.
this was before the first
In a
place.
competitive division.
This was before the first place. This was before the first place.
Oh.
He's got something on him, Coach.
Well, he's in
got
first place.
something on him.
That's all I know.
I'm telling Molly.
Good for you, Coach Fish.
What do you like to say?
Molly,
Only in America.
I got
Mollywood, you got connections. Find
I was
out what
watching the
Jeff
running
Fisher
back.
got on that man. Ain't no reason for that man to still have that head coaching job.
I had you guys going, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I was
that was
watching the
great.
running back. I thought you
I
handed
know.
it off.
That's
Herm,
what the
can't
coach
wait
can
for
do.
your perspective, though, on this next subject.
Oh, boy.
The reigning NFL MVP Cam Newton was placed in concussion protocol after taking a hard hit to the head by Falcons linebacker Deion Jones as he reached the goal line for a two-point conversion in the Panthers' loss. Head coach Ron Rivera says he doesn't know if Cam will play against the Bucs on Monday Night Football. Herm, I don't know if this question's a little aggressive here, but does Cam need to change his style of play?
Well, he does in the sense that he has to understand when the journey's over if he wants to continue to play quarterback in this league for a long period of time. But this team is built to run the football. They are, third in the league right now running. Last year they were second. A lot of that has to do with Cam Newton. Remember, this guy carried the ball 132 times last year as a quarterback. Had almost 700 yards rushing. Now Stewart goes down. He's already carried the ball 29 times, more than any quarterback. He's been hit 45 times. Those are not good numbers. And what Cam has to realize now, he's so big and he's so powerful that you just anticipate when he breaks the pocket that when he gets to the back end of your defense that he's going to run you over. Well, he's got to learn how to, like we tell quarterbacks, slide. Protect yourself, Cam. You have to play the whole game. The only way this team can win football games is by you standing and playing the whole game. He can't leave the game. Now all of a sudden he got concussed. What happened to him against Atlanta? That same hit he got versus the Saints. He slowed down at the end zone, and a guy hit him. Same thing. He kind of slowed up. Now, he didn't see the guy. He didn't see the guy for Atlanta. He was kind of looking inside, and the guy was covering somebody, and he hit him. It was a clean hit. He hit him. He didn't go hit, but he hit him, and you could tell he was hurt. But he did the same thing. He's got to realize that guys aren't going to slow down. The job of a defensive player is to hit the quarterback. Hit him, rattle his teeth. That's what you want to do as a defensive player. And when the quarterback's running, you say, if we hit him legal, that's a good thing. Because we don't want this guy in the fourth quarter to have courage. He's a tough guy, but he's got to protect himself. The running game cannot go through Cam Newton. This is the problem. Stewart is out. The runner is Cam Newton right now.
Yeah, I like that actually, Coach. I mean, listen, I'm arguing this with Coach. I understand what that looks like. But I actually do like it when he's running the ball. I don't like it when he's standing up straight, walking into the end zone. He's going to get hurt. Sliding, yes. But I think the issue, at least to my eyes so far this season, the defensive front is not getting pressure on the other team. That's their defensive problem, it seems to me. And the offensive line is less than it was. For example, last year, 22% of the time last season on dropbacks, he got hit. 40% of the time, they were bringing an extra guy. right? This year, that goes up to 25% of the time he's getting hit, but they're only bringing an extra guy 33% of the time. So they're rushing fewer, they're hitting him a little bit more. The offensive line isn't quite as good. And meantime, it looks to me like he's holding the ball, looking for open receivers, where I would rather, if Cam Newton, if there's no one open, go. You know, run. You're going to pick up those yards.
You can run, but know when the journey's over.
Yes, slide, obviously.
Don't go running into somebody.
Yeah.
Slide.
And also, don't stand up straight walking into the end zone.
Here's the problem with both of y'all analysis. You're talking purely football. Let's take some other things into consideration. First of all, Coach, I disagree with you from the standpoint that I think Cam Newton, if you looked at him, he wasn't looking away. He looked right at the guy, saw him coming. What happened was he slowed up because you busy lollygagging because you're right there, which he tends to do a lot. You're right about that. I'm looking at a Cam Newton, and I'm seeing somebody that is not fully embracing the kind of ire that he provokes because of how great he is, how great he has been. And correct me if I'm wrong about this, because you would know this better than me. I don't think anybody's going to forget all that dabbing and celebration that team was doing last year. That kind of stuff. And you got to remember, never was it more flagrant than it was last year against Atlanta when their game was still going on and they literally were on the opposite sideline having trounced Atlanta, and they were literally taking pictures during the game.
Yeah, when woman wrote the letter.
Don't think for one second that cats forget something like that. And in football, where you have a license to assault. You have a license to assault. The quarterback, you got to start acting like you remember you are the target. Cats are not coming just to stop Cam. They want to hurt him. And what he has to do is respond like somebody whose life is in danger on every play, because they are trying to literally paralyze his spirit.
It doesn't help that they're dropping more guys in the coverage and that guys like Benjamin don't seem to be running very crisp routes and don't seem to be getting open.
Benjamin has been a disappointment.
Well, he's not a route runner.
He's been a disappointment.
He's a
size
big guy.
guy.
He's a big size
But he's been
guy.
a disappointment.
And look, the problem, look, it all boils down to this. He's holding the ball, but the reason he's holding the ball, his guys are covered. This offense is a vertical offense. Not a lot of dinks and dunks. Some screens, but it's built around the quarterback. It should be. But he's got to be a smarter quarterback when he leaves the pocket. And you're right, Stephen A. Look, when you do what he did last year, people don't forget. But Cam's a big boy. He gets that. He did this. He understands that. That ain't the problem. He has to be a smarter runner. Russell Wilson is a smart runner. Russell, and he's littler, but he's a smart runner. He understands, hey, okay, Robert Griffin was not a smart runner. Cam Newton's not being a smart runner right now.
Fair enough. Coach, always good to see you. Thank you.
It's good to be back.
Get a little tea.